What's up, everybody? Jordan James Sylvia here. I wonder if I steal my opening catchphrase from Paulie Shore. Didn't he used to say some shit like that? Good old Paulie Shore. Bangs are on point this morning. Halloween. All Hallows Eve. Tomorrow's the big day. Free candy. Living the dream. Hey, I am not making light of this, guys. I am not making light of anyone's personal plight. I grew up on food stamps and government cheese before food stamps. I was getting government assistance before the government gave you coupons with the founding fathers on them that were only redeemable for food. We used to directly get how everyone remembers government cheese, but there was like butter and peanut butter and a couple other staples, rice, I think. But everyone always remembers the government cheese. I don't know what's up with that. Anybody listening used to get like literal food stores from the government when you were a kid? I used to. So I ain't making fun. I'm not making fun. I've lived it. Jake Auchincloss never had government cheese before. He's a rich puke from Newton who claims to represent the city of Fall River and voted no to fund the Snappy cards. Government cheese made the best mac and cheese. Grew up on it. Yeah, Chris. You know why, Chris? Because we're the true populists in Florida. Woo! Hey, but you know what, bro? Real talk, Chris. We're better men today because of that. We're better men than Jake Auchincloss. I've robbed that background from my children to be able to persevere and come from nothing. My kids were born on, like, let's just say, some of my kids were born on first base. It was still, I mean, not even really. Like, I was living in an apartment when I had Wyatt and Wynn, and I was making junk money, me and my wife at the time. So they weren't really I guess at first base is maybe my first kids were born in the dugout. But Cassius and Charlotte were born on Highland Ave, so anything they accomplish in their lives, people would just say, "Oh, please, kid, your dad was Jordan James Sylvia. Like, you had to work for your shit." You know, I've robbed them from the struggle that people like Chris and I enjoyed when we were kids. That's okay. We want to give our kids a better life. And sadly, for a ton of people, that's not happening. Like, did you ever think in 2025 we'd be talking about? Now, I'm a libertarian now. Remember, anti-government. I know the government is ran by criminals across party lines. But even myself, growing up on welfare and government cheese and public housing, the projects, Maple Gardens, I am for reasonable safety nets in society that the government can provide. It'd be a lot more pared down than what people get nowadays. It wouldn't be, oh, jump the border and here's $2,000 a week like Maura Healey does. Maura Healey should be in jail for that. But if you're from America and you fall upon a hard time, I'm from like the Newt Gingrich approach, because I remember my mom in the early 90s when Clinton was the president and Gingrich was the Speaker of the House, and they said welfare reform. We can't just give everyone money to sit home. That's kind of bad for society. And my mom was still probably receiving stuff while working. And they tightened it up and they said, I think she even was like not volunteering. You can call it volunteering. In order to get benefits, you had to do something. My mom was like a whole monitor at Diamond while I was a Diamond student. That was awesome. And everyone loved my mom too. Everyone would come up to me and say, your mom is like so cool and funny. But that's how it used to be, bro. It used to be not give every criminal, Venezuelan gang member $2,000 a week to fucking live in America. That's how insane. That's why, like I said, that's why the Democrat Party is going into extinction in real time, because I've known they're communists for a long time, right? I know they're communists for a long time. And they call themselves, again, Bernie Sanders. Remember, guys, Bernie Sanders used to be the crazy old guy. Oh, he's one guy in Congress in America calls himself a socialist. And it was like, that's all right. He's just a crazy guy from Vermont. Now he's the leader of the party with AOC, New York City, about to elect a communist. So they're done. That party is done-ski. Americans don't want that. Sorry. I know they've tricked enough poor people to pretend like they want that. We're going to give you free rent. We're going to give you free faster buses and free trains and free everything. Economics for that doesn't work. So we're seeing it now. But let's get back. I don't want to veer too far off course. Let's talk about Jake Auchincloss. That AI GIF I posted this morning. Dude is from Newton, rich guy, says he represents the city of Fall River because of gerrymandered districts. Voted no to fill your snap cards. Now it passed the House because there's like a handful of Democrats who will like not evil and don't want to starve poor children for no reason. There's no policy dispute. They're not trying to hold Trump to anything. They're saying, oh, rising healthcare costs. Oh, okay. You mean Obamacare didn't work? And they can all argue about that. Oh, no, Trump hollowed out, whatever they want to argue about. Listen, they have no leverage because they're in the minority and will forever be in the minority going forward. They're never winning the White House. I don't think Democrats will ever win the White House ever again. They'll lose seats in every congressional race going forward. They're Dunsky. They're going to start calling themselves something. Maybe they'll call themselves the Socialist Party of America. But in the meantime, while they're still floundering around, you got people like Jake Auchincloss, wealthy, rich, white, muscular Marines voting no for the snap cards. Guess what, dude? It's 10:30. Tomorrow's Halloween. The next day, the snap cards are supposed to refill. And they're not doing it. So, can't post to some destination. What's going on? Okay, there you go. I can see some comments now. Two of you and Dom as well. What's up, Jake Bradley? Love you, bro. I know. You're the better Jake, bro. You actually at least know. You can actually know your way around forever. Hey, I would vote for you for Congress over Jake Auchincloss. He comes down here and he has to have either Paul Coogan or Carol Fiola lead him around like, hi, this is Almax. Hi, this is Takeo Manufacturing. This is where you send some of the taxpayer money. Guy's clueless. You left Jake Auchincloss by himself at Fall River, he'd be fucking lost calling 911. He'd end up on Hartwell Street. You know what I mean? And maybe meet those people. Maybe meet Corey Gonzalez on Hartwell Street. And that's not any sort of throws people's life. I'm saying the district that this kid represents is so unsafe former mayors are being nearly decapitated. Will Flanagan messaged me last night at midnight, and he said, Jordan, because I reached out to him again. I wanted to do an event with Will. I want to have him on my podcast. And he said, Jordan, just got home, just seeing this now. And he said, we're going to have that interview soon, bro. And he heart emojied it. And I responded back to Will. I said, bro, infinite respect for you. Me and my son have been praying for you every night, including last night. And I think God saved his life as he did to Donald Trump with that bullet in midair and turned his head and got his ear pierced by another deranged leftist, Marxist, domestic terror attack. They happen every day in America now. But yeah, remember that Hartwell Street, that's Jake Auchincloss's district. You think people get stabbed up like that in Newton, where Jake lives, in Jake's neighborhood? All rich white liberals who all think they're smarter than everyone in Fall River? No. That random crime doesn't happen in Jake Auchincloss's neighborhood, but he represents Hartwell Street in Fall River. And the snap cards are not being refilled because Elizabeth Warren and Ed Markey are still voting no in the Senate. So there you have it, folks. And you have some of these deranged people in the Fall River groups. Oh, it's Trump's fault. Stop it. Last week he was a king. This week he's supposed to spend congressional money without congressional approval. That's not how it works. You know, Congress controls the purse strings, and unfortunately, Republicans don't have enough of a majority to keep funding the government. And so the Democrats are hijacking snap cards for no reason. There's no policy end. They're just trying to, it's like a grand no kings protest. Morning, Sarah. I love you, honey. Dave Meade. I'd vote for Dave Meade over Jake Auchincloss easily. I'd say let them settle it with the arm wrestling competition. Dave Meade would put his hand through the table. Little Jakey, little soy boy, scrawny Jake, the Marine, the big tough Marine. Yeah, right. Cosplaying Jake as a Marine. Get the fuck out of here. You're a Marine. Dude should be court-martialed for saying Donald Trump was an insurrectionist who shouldn't have been allowed on the ballot. Jake Auchincloss should be thrown out of the Marine Reserve, whatever the fuck that is. And I'm an Army National Guardsman. I wasn't a Navy SEAL, but I was in Iraq. Listen, I've met people like Jake Auchincloss in the military. It's mostly a conservative entity, guys, obviously, fighting for your country. Liberals are like afraid of, weapons and defense, and hate their country and burn the flag and all that stuff. So, there's some of them in the Army, and they stick out like a sore thumb. Jake would be one of those guys. A table match. I hear you, Dave. I agree, Linda. I think God saved Will. I walk by there every day. I know, Jay. It's the safest place. No way you don't walk every day, Jay. And Jake Auchincloss's district, because you can't afford to walk around where he lives, bro, in Newton. But you can walk around Hartwell Street and roll the dice if you're going to be attacked or not. So safe. People like Jay Rizzo, man, I don't get it. You could set your watch to how shitty their takes are on everything. They're never wrong. They're never wrong. Everything they say is just the opposite of what they say. And then you could set your watch to that. That's Jay Rizzo. And I'm not, no disrespect, bro. Your brain is fucking warped. I don't know where it came from. You're a poor person. You support Jake Auchincloss, dude. You probably, you've never voted before like weeks ago. All of a sudden you're a fucking political expert. You're on Crossfire. I got to see, Rizzo, how I could pull people live now that I go on this. I have to have Jess Machado show me that. There's a way to do it. But, yeah, snap cards, food insecurity. How about this? They're all, Maura Healey, all these clowns, probably Coogan as well. I just didn't see it yet. They're all telling everybody. Oh, the governor of Rhode Island was doing this yesterday, McKee. Oh, here are the food pantries to go. What? You're going to take away people's SNAP benefits and refer them to the food pantries? Bro, you'll burn in hell for saying that. You will burn in hell. That's just how it goes. You can't starve poor kids and fucking say go to the food pantry. I'm a libertarian. I'm the most anti-government, small government person you'll meet, and I think that's immoral. That's probably a war crime. That's probably fucking genocide by your Congress people. That's okay. I love this shit, guys. I'm not gonna lie, because I don't want to see anyone be put in a bad situation with food. But whenever Democrats can expose themselves as being vile subhumans, like Jake Auchincloss, like Elizabeth Warren, like Ed Markey, I'm here for it. Because just like with COVID, they just red pill everybody. You know what I mean? There's no cause worth what? They're all for the money. No shit, Jay. Absolutely they are. They're not your friend. You ever fucking hang out with Jake Auchincloss, bro? Bro. Alan Sylvia. Oh, he's done. Healthy initiatives is paid fresh. Alan Sylvia, he's done. Jody, what's up, everybody? Love you guys. Hey, Democrat Party is toast, bro. They're zombies now. They're just walking dead. They don't even realize that their party is extinct already. They're just now just making fools of themselves. Just like this Coogan guy on the way out. They make absolute fools of themselves. That's what they're doing. But they're doing it at the Snap card benefit expense for poor people in Fall River. You know? Yeah, Dave, they're going to stop feeding them. I didn't think they were that vile, but it's one day away. So I think they are going to stop feeding them. So we'll have to see. I'm waiting. Like, again, I don't mean to see anyone not get food, but to see Democrats victimize their own voting base, dude, kind of will sit back and chuckle a little bit. And I feel bad for all those people. I'll pray for all of them today. All these poor people that depend on that. Caesar salad, baby. All right, guys, I got to make the donuts. Let's see if they're going to just fill up them snap cards. Pace.